race fans, and welcome to Madison, Illinois for tonight's running of the 2019 ASRS Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series for the Perky Pints 100 live here on 3Y TV at Gateway Motorsports Park. I'm Tanner Sharp up here in the booth, and alongside me is Mr. Peter Short, and back up somewhere in the track area in the production truck is Mr. Carlos Acosta. Peter, welcome to Gateway. The NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series is the only NASCAR series that comes here, but the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series also comes here to Gateway. It's actually got a new name in the real world, and it's actually called Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, but tonight we're just calling it Gateway Motorsports Park. Tell me of what you know about this interesting racetrack.
Well, yeah, like you said, this is a very interesting racetrack, and it's definitely going to set a very interesting race for tonight's Perky Pints 100. You know, this racetrack, it is an egg-shaped oval. It means turns 1 and 2 race completely different than turns 3 and 4, and unlike Darlington Motor Speedway, which is another speedway out there that's similarly shaped, the banking in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are wildly different. Turns 1 and 2, you have a decent amount of banking. Usually the truck will have a lot of grip in turns 1 and 2. However, in 3 and 4, there is very shallow banking, and it usually makes the truck either very tight or very loose, one or the other, and it's something that the drivers will have to face all night long. It is a track where you can actually find grip in different grooves for turns 1 and 2. I do expect to see that second groove come in as the night goes on, but nonetheless, a very different racetrack to a lot of the other Truck Series races this season.
This is round 2 tonight of the Triple Threat Challenge. The first round was at Iowa Speedway a week ago, and Jared Mogart took the checkered flag there, so he earned $25. Tonight here at Gateway, the winner will receive $25. And if Jared Mogart is able to win tonight and Chicagoland, he will receive a bonus of $25. So he's getting some money in that bank for sure. But we'll see. $25 still on the line here tonight. We talked about the racetrack just a little bit. Turns 1 and 2 that Peter had mentioned, a little more banked. That's banked 11 degrees. And turns 3 and 4, 9 degrees. So this is going to be an interesting challenge for these trucks here tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into the point standings. Last week's winner, Jared Mogard on the Truck Series side, has got an 81-point gap over Evan Black. Evan Black's been kind of struggling as of recent. Let's see if he can rebound back after being strong and having 2 wins on his win column. Devin Serra is third in points. He's 94 points back of Mogard. Mitchell Brown is 115 points back in 4th place, as you see on screen. Corey Silva is 5th in the point standings. Will Worsler currently in 6th. Sam Maxwell gained a couple of spots from last week. He's up there 7th in points. Jim Foose lost a spot. Jim Foose only 3 top 10s on the season. He's hoping to rebound back after being on a suspension and a dismal Iowa race. Joseph Sawville is currently 9th in points, and Alan Young had such a tremendous run at Iowa Speedway, but it's what the finish is what counts as far as the point standing is concerned. He lost 2 points despite his strong run at Iowa last week. That rounds to the top 10 in points. Also, we have a Premier Series. Now, the Premier Series combines the both Cup and Truck Series. Jared Mogard is on top of that list with 771 points. There you see on screen. 155 points back is Evan Black. Will Worsler Corey Silva is currently in 3rd. Will Worsler right there is currently in 4th. Joseph Sawville 5th. Kelsey Rogers in 6th. Jim Foose 7th. Mitchell Brown 8th. Alan Young 9th. And rounding out that top 10 is Sam Maxwell. So we have drivers who've been consistent this season. Jim Foose has actually been on the top 10 in points on both charts, both Premier points and Truck Series points alone. Tonight here at Iowa, hoping Jim Foose would have a good run to keep his points alive in the top 10. But after watching practice here at Gateway, Peter, these cats are running some pretty good lap times for the trucks, 32-second lap times. I'm seeing 32 flats, actually, but Will Worsler topped the speed charts in the practice session. As we are now currently in qualification, what is the best line here at Gateway? And as the lights just turned on, what's the best line here at Gateway? And my second question to that, Peter, is Is this going to be like one of those ovals where you have to downshift possibly due to the gearing in these trucks?
Well, yeah, shifting is always a question that comes into effect when you come to a racetrack like this, because turns 1 and 2 are much tighter than turns 3 and 4. So downshifting usually is a key thing here, but as you know, when it comes to the lines, you're going to see different lines through turns number 1 and 2. Down in 3 and 4, you're going to be right down there on the bottom near the white line, but 1 and 2, interestingly enough, there tends to be a decent amount of grip in the second groove, not right on the white line. So you'll see a lot of trucks try and use that second groove to try and get a launch up off the corner, especially on entry. This racetrack, it races a lot different than a lot of other racetracks, kind of like you know, Darlington, where you have to run the wall through the corner and kind of late apex. You can do a late apex here too at Gateway Motorsports Park, and I'm sure we'll see that in effect a couple times. Here's Will Worsler. You see he's currently on his out lap, trying to get as much momentum as he can, using that wall to see if he can get a good run coming out of turn number 4. He does. He's at the line now. We'll see what line he runs here through turns number 1 and 2, and you can see he's not going down to that white line. And like I said, there's a lot of grip right in that second groove, and I expect to see that in action here tonight.
Yeah, you did say at the top of the show you have to take 1 and 2 differently than 3 and 4, and Will Worsler is definitely showing that on screen right now. Oh, he kind of got loose on entrance there, getting sideways, dirt tracking it, but saves it. Great save by Will Worsler.
Yeah, I expect to see him woe that truck down and see if he can get back at it here in qualifying. Luckily in iRacing, if your first lap doesn't go to plan, if you don't cross the start-finish line, you can actually come back to pit road and get a second lap at speed. So I'm sure that's what will do, as he did pace the practice session a little bit earlier ago. One other truck that was fast in practice was Devin Serra in the number 20. And if you look on that board on the left side of your screen, currently Devin Serra sits atop the leaderboard with a 31.990, currently almost or over 2/10 faster than Sam Maxwell. So that number 20 machine, lightning quick around this joint, and it is a tough racetrack. Tanner, as a driver who's raced here before, this racetrack, for whatever reason, tends to be very divisive in dividing these drivers based on just how they feel the racetrack. There are drivers that love this track, and there are drivers that absolutely hate this track. It is definitely one of the most dividing racetracks in all of NASCAR.
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, I've been on iRacing for a long time, for quite a long time now. It just seems like it was just maybe a couple years ago I started iRacing, but that's not true. But I've always had my struggles at this racetrack. On the Sim Possible side, when the trucks came here at Gateway, man, I couldn't get this track written down. I couldn't hit my marks right or anything. I couldn't find the speed. I thought guys were kicking my butt. And I usually learned how to operate this racetrack during race trim, as crazy as that sounds. So I don't have a very good track record here at this track. I'm still trying to get a grip on this track. I don't race it very much, but I should race more trucks so I can race this racetrack for sure. But nonetheless, this track has its own character, and it can be a struggle for sure. And I think more NASCAR series needs to come to this racetrack, because I believe this is a challenging racetrack. You do have banking down in 1 and 2. It might be 11 degrees. Doesn't sound like much, but there's banking down there still, and it's more banking than 3 and 4. I think you kind of have that mixture of a blown up Darlington, if you can picture this track just a little bit, or a blown up New Hampshire, just with a little banking. So this track definitely has its own character and its own challenges.
Yeah, it also clocks in at 1 1/4 mile, and that's kind of unique to this racetrack. There's no other 1 1/4 mile racetrack in NASCAR. As you see Tim Knott go across the start-finish line here. We're about halfway through qualifying. If you're looking at that leaderboard on the left-hand side, Jared Mogard currently sitting in the 12th position at 32.440. Now looking at Mogard's practice times, he only sat 9th on the board, so his chances of winning the second round of the triple threat might be in jeopardy, at least now, but there is a long race ahead of us. Like we said, it is the Perky Pints 100 here tonight. around this 1.25 mile racetrack. 80 laps tonight. Should be a pretty good race. I do expect this place always tends to put on a great show. I know last year here in the ASRS Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, there was a last lap battle, so I'm hoping we see something like that here tonight. As you look at the number 92 machine, that is Evan Black going around, and you mentioned it, Evan Black had a tough round last week at Iowa Speedway, just didn't seem to get that truck ever up near the top 10, came home with, I believe, a 22nd place finish, so hopefully he's going to be able to bounce back from that tonight. And there's the number 93 of Brennan Krutz going around the racetrack, 3.5 minutes left. We'll see how he can get around this racetrack, see if he can put in a good time. There's the number 35. A couple of late qualifiers, Tanner. That's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, Evan Black, he was going to qualify last week, but he messed up in qualifying. So far in 7th, Evan Black is looking for a good run here tonight. He had a very dismal Iowa race a week ago. I'm actually trying to pull up his stats because I think he's had a couple of bad races. Maybe not. It was just a 23rd at Iowa, but a 9th place at Rockingham. But we know Evan Black's fast. He's just been qualifying outside the top 20 the last 2 races. Tonight, he finally starts in the top 10 so far, and that's actually a good thing for Evan Black, so he can, gather up, kind of erase those bad memories of the last races. One driver I'm seeing that's been on a roll lately, other than Jared Mogard, is Sam Maxwell. Peter, 2 weeks back on May 28th at Rockingham, that vintage race throwback race, he started 3rd and finished 7th, leading 2 laps. At Iowa last week, started 3rd, finished 5th. And where is Sam Maxwell starting so far here tonight? 3rd. So I think Sam Maxwell, he's got some momentum with him. I think he's got a chance to get the victory lane tonight. Don't know about your thoughts on that, Peter, but Sam Maxwell, he's got some momentum carrying with him.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have some momentum, and he's been fantastic in qualifying. He's shown that again here tonight. We did see Tyler Saville have some issues coming out of turn number 4 there. And this racetrack, in turn number 3, the truck usually tends to be tight because you have a lot of momentum getting into the corner, and you have to play around with brake bias. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers play around with the brake bias tonight to see if they can get that truck rotated through the corner. But then on exit of the corner, coming out of turn number 4, depends on how you enter the corner. You saw there Tyler Saville get loose off the corner, and that's something we're going to see tonight. We're going to see drivers get loose out of turn number 4, but your exit off that corner greatly depends on your entry into turn number 3 and how you approach it. So really turns 3 and 4 flow together, as do turns number 1 and 2. Like I said earlier, you can do a late apex, and a late apex is going to be directly related to your entry to the corner. So it isn't really interesting racetrack from a technique perspective, and hopefully we see a couple of different techniques in effect here tonight, giving us some different strategies. I'm greatly looking forward to this Perky Pints 100.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% fuel load here tonight, 80 laps. We got clear skies here at Iowa. Beautiful weather, or not Iowa, oh my God, Iowa on my mind right now because of the real-life races that happened there, as well as this race for ASRS that happened a week ago. But no, we're at Gateway in Madison, Illinois. Clear skies here tonight, great weather. Track temperature 77, it's only getting cooler. A little windy out there, 10 miles an hour, so... I think that we might have some tight conditions as this race goes on. Maybe a little loose on entrance too. We've seen that some guys get loose on entrance for sure. So qualifying has now wrapped up. The checkered flag flies for that. We're going to start the grid. And I got to say congratulations to Devin Serra for getting the pole here this evening. We'll wait for the truck. Everybody's starting to grid up here. Oh, there we go. Everybody's starting to grid up. So let's go ahead and go to the grid. Devin Serra on the pole tonight with a 31.989. The only driver so far tonight to ever hit a 31. Mitch Brown is going to start in second spot. Good starting position for Mitch. Sam Maxwell, he's going to be my pick for tonight. He's got some momentum carrying with him. I believe he can bring that Sam Maxwell Customs Chevrolet Silverado to victory lane tonight, and he's also the series sponsor. What a fitting deal that would be. Michael Krobach will start in 4th. He'll be fast here tonight. So far, qualifying position 4th, but he wasn't very fast within the practice, so we'll keep an eye on Michael as the night goes on. Will Worsler will start in 5th. Kelsey Rogers 6th. Tim Knott 7th. Evan Black in 8th. Troy Haight will round out 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Corey Silva.
Starting in the 11th position is Jackson Van Valkenburg in the number 86 machine. Alongside him is the number 24 of Alan Young. On row number 7, we got the number 1 of Jason Stewart and Alex Giese alongside him. Giese, of course, looking for a good run in that number 77 truck. Starting in the 15th position, kind of a little bit further back than you might expect, but that is Jared Mogard looking for his second win in the Triple Threat. He's going to try and sweep the Triple Threat races for an extra $25. But starting alongside him is league organizer Jim Foose in the 42. On row number 9 is Edward Bray in the 66. He's going to be starting 17th, and Jared Haggerty in the number 6, rolling off 18th. And then on row number 10, running out your top 20 would be Richard Stallings and Dan Deffler.
Blackjack position 21st, Doug Mullins. He wanted a good strong run to Iowa. He's driving a sponsored truck tonight that's Slice Pizza Bar, so hopefully he has a good run tonight. He'll roll 21st. Jim McKee 22nd, Brand Kreutz 23rd, Clarence Bonner 24th, Chris Titus 25th, Christopher Lane 26th, Josh Walker 27th, Pete Baskins 28th, last driver take qualification time, Nick Curling 29th, Calvin Miller 30th, 31st, Lee Staples, 32nd, Richard Fletcher, Jack Wells, 33rd, Tyler Sawville, rounding out the 34-car field here tonight. As the drivers make their way through turns 3 and 4, I'm glad you can be with us live here on 3Y TV for the 2019 Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. They come through turns 3 and 4. The pace car's already down, waiting on the leaders here. And green, 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 green. We're green flag racing here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Ooh, it looked like the 51 machine. Mitch Brown may have beat the leader to the line, but nonetheless, they're side by side, headed down in turn 1 for the first time. Sarah versus Brown. Then you got Maxwell on the bottom, balanced side by side, contact with Michael Krobach. Big X on the back straightaway. This will bring out a caution. This will not bring out a caution. Unbelievable. I'm surprised it did not bring out a yellow flag. There was contact right off the bat coming off turn number 2 between Sam Maxwell and Michael Krobach. Here it is on the replay. It looked like Maxwell started drifting up the track after going through the bumps, and there's contact, and the caution is now out. There is a separate accident on the speedway.
Yeah, big wreck coming out of turn number 4. You see this stack up. The number 47, excuse me, Richard Fletcher, Lee Staples in the 26. Those two trucks probably the most heavily damaged. That number 47 of Fletcher appears to be smoking, as is Christopher Lane. Go back and watch this. You can see it all happening in front of him.
Loose.
Clarence Bonner. Yep, and that number 99 machine. You can see it is an absolute parking lot there coming out of turn number 4. I wanted to mention this in the pre-race, Tanner, that this racetrack gets narrow very quickly, and you can see that number 99 machine. Yep, he got loose. The 93 there got into him, and it was on from there. Ooh, the 17 of Richard Stallings went around.
Production truck. Could we get a onboard Jack Wells, please? 06. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, no problem. It just, all of a sudden, the track just clogged up. We were riding on board with Jack. Oh, boy.
I had a good eye view of that one.
Jack Wells probably needs a new pair of underwear after that one. That was impressive to see everything just all of a sudden clear up in front of him. Riding on board with the, I believe the number 17 here. Ooh, he tried everything he could. Got a little bit of damage. I think the 17 will be all right. That, of course, is Richard Stallings. He's able to drive away from that one. But yeah, that all started with that number 99 getting a little bit loose there in the corner.
He had struggles in practice too, and qualifying, getting loose in that particular spot of the track.
Yeah, we got a lot of cars on pit road right now, or a lot of trucks, I should say, coming down to fix some of that damage. We did get a comment before the start of this race from Richard Fletcher. Unfortunately, he's one of those drivers that was involved in that accident. He says it is going to be a slick racetrack. So definitely interesting to hear that and then see that coming out of turn number 4. And I kind of mentioned it earlier that turn number 4, your exit off that corner is dependent on your entry and how you roll through the center of the corner. And there is a tendency to get loose off that corner depending on how you roll through 3 and the center of 3 and 4. So definitely interesting to see that already early on.
Yeah, definitely, Peter. Just, I mean, when you set up a corner, you want to set it up, and it's not like you can't move around everywhere like you could do probably like on a console game or something like that. But once you set up that corner, you kind of got to stick to your guns and stick to your line. And sometimes it can get snappy loose. If it gets snappy loose, you got to play with the throttle a little bit, because every single truck does have a fixed setup underneath these machines, so everybody's driving practically the same setup. We just received the 1 to greens right now, so let's go ahead and reset the field after that big incident. It's a little bit of a shake-up here. Devin Serra still on the pole, or sat on the pole, still first. Mitch Brown second, started second, still in second. Same thing with Sam Maxwell, third. Will Worsler gained a spot. He's currently in 4th. How about Corey Silva, starting 10th position, already up to 5th place. But he might be lined up technically. I don't know if that's... yeah, that's true. 5th place, Evan Black 6th, Tim Knott 7th, Troy Haight 8th, Jackson Von Valkenburg gained already 2 spots since the start. He's 9th. Running off the top 10, Alex Kesey after starting 14th. So there's a bunch of drivers a lap down. Chris Titus, Clarence Bonner, Christopher Lane, Richard Fletcher, and Lee Staples all on pit road currently getting their machines repaired, and I can actually confirm Christopher Lane has brought his truck to the garage.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for him. Looks like also Lee Staples might have done the same. So those 2 trucks, don't think we'll see them for the remainder of the night. However, the green flag is in the flagman's hand, and there it is. Green flag back in the air here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Great restart there by Devin Serra. He's going to clear Mitch Brown going off into turn number 1, but there's a side-by-side battle now for the 3rd position. That is between Sam Maxwell and the number 29 of Will Worsler. Worsler getting that run down the back stretch. Look at that bright yellow number 42 Menards Toyota making moves in the back. That would be, of course, Jim Foose. Maxwell going to lose a couple of spots here, though, going into turn number 3. Maxwell's going to slide back into the 5th position as both Will Worsler and Evan Black got around him. Here comes Corey Silva, kind of peeking his nose. Look at this little battle, really a scrum from about the 8th position on back for position here early after this restart.
Boy, I see when that, man, I tell you what, when Evan Black passed Sam Maxwell, it was a power mover on the outside row. Here goes the battle right now. Mitch Brown up the hill just a little bit. Will Worsler down the inside. Maybe Mitch Brown can get a little bit of a run off on corner exit. It seems like he does have the run on corner exit. This is going to be interesting because now I think we're kind of into the stage of the race right here. Even though it's only been a few laps, the tires do wear out quick here. Look at this, almost slicing through the middle. Evan Black thought better of it. Looks like Mitch Brown may have the preferred line. Look at Evan Black. He wants to try to go 3 wide, but he backs off to do it. Will Worsler still trying to fight the 51 machine of Mitch Brown. A little hard to say which line you really want to be in. Looks like in 3 and 4 you want the bottom line. Mitch Brown does get a run, but he has nowhere to take it. Oh, 24 is around. That's Alan Young. Caution is out.
Yeah, that number 24 hard hit with the inside wall. Doesn't look like too much damage though. Looks like he's pretty much okay.
Oh, he got loose.
Go back and see what happened on the replay. Oh, yeah, looks like he got loose. Yeah, he locked it up, and yeah, just a little kiss with the inside wall. Looked pretty hard from the angle I was seeing it at, but just a little light tap with the inside wall. So I think Alan Young will be a-okay there. But we'll have to see if he hit the curbing here, because that's definitely something, couldn't quite see from that angle, but that curbing that's down there on the inside tends to loosen up the truck. Ooh, there's the 66. The 66 did pretty much the same thing, but he hit it a little bit harder there. It's Edward Bray in that Chevrolet, getting some front end damage on that machine. But that's one thing that's kind of unique to this racetrack. It's, of course, not unique to a lot of road courses, but at least for ovals, this racetrack has some inside curbing that can sometimes really upset the truck if you hit it just wrong or in the wrong spot. There's not much grip down there.
Much like Homestead Miami Speedway, you have to take the pathway to pit road. And that's what these trucks are doing. That is a fact around this joint. Trucks, all of them coming down pit road. Two-tire gamble, Peter? Or do the tires wear off? Or could this be a perfect time to test? What are your thoughts?
You know, I would say that this is a perfect time to test that out as a couple of trucks go through those stairway there. But I think it's actually a perfect time to test that out. This racetrack is fairly difficult to pass on, and we've ran probably only about 5 to 6 green flag laps. So, you know what, Tanner? I think it's a good time to gamble with 2 tires, and we'll have to see based on pit time if anyone does that. Doesn't look like it, as Devin Sarah will win the race off pit road.
So Devin Sarah, 4 tires, 51, 4 tires of Mitch Brown, Will Worsler 3rd, Evan Black 4th, and Corey Silva 5th. Everybody on 4 tires. So nobody, realistically, I'm seeing Stewart actually number 1 staying out. Pete Baskin stayed out, but he's coming in right now. So Stewart stays out, and along with, or is he a lap down? No, he's 2 laps down, the 45 machine right there of Nick Curling. So 1 truck stays out, and that's the number 1 machine of Jason Stewart in that camouflage SMC paint scheme.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna stay out here and you know, wait for this whole field to shuffle out. But yeah, he will be your race leader, and I'm interested to see how this will go. He does have 8 laps on this stint, so he did pit under that last caution, the first caution of the race, I should say, in that number 1 machine. So we'll have to see and track Jason Stewart to see if he falls through the field. But you know, I thought your 2-tire gamble was a good idea, personally, just because how difficult it is to pass, especially if you're, you know, ways back in the field. But nonetheless, Jason Stewart is going to throw the dice with no tires here under this caution flag. There is the number 77 machine, Alex Giese.
Well, this is my prediction. This is my prediction here, Peter. The number 1 machine, Jason Stewart, he's on older tires by 7 laps. Maybe 5 laps if you want to count caution laps. But nonetheless, I think he will drop. I think if he had 2 right side tires, he would have been okay. But I think it's going to be kind of a little easier to pass him. If we do get that long green flag run, he will drop like a pigeon. Or drop like a rock, I should say. So I think Jason Stewart could be in trouble as this green flag run will go on.
Yeah, well, production truck is making pigeon noises now. Thank you very much for that. But, I mean, Jason Stewart was, you know, he was in 27th or so position before that caution came out. So I think he's just trying to get track position here. This is a racetrack that tends to race like a short track just because it is a 1 1/4 mile racetrack, and it tends to be a difficult racetrack, especially in turns number 1 and 2, and with the fact that you need a lot of rear brake bias to kind of pitch the race truck. So maybe Jason Stewart is gambling on there being another caution here quite soon. To see if he can maintain that position up near the front. But pace car lights are off. We're going to get set to go back to green.
Jason Stewart, old tires. Everybody else on back, second on back, 4 tires. Sarah, Brown, Worsler, and Black, the top 5. Corey Silva, Sam Maxwell, Troy Haight, Jackson Van Valkenburg, and Tim Knott, the remaining of the top 10. Right now, let's see if the no-tire strategy will pay off in Jason Stewart's favor here. He is going to be banking on a caution eventually, but he does get on a loud pedal. Green flag is back out. We are racing. He does not spin the tires. Instead, he gets a good start. He gets a good restart. The first side-by-side battle heading down in turn number 1 is between Mitch Brown and Devin Sarah. Mitch Brown could not wash up the track. The faster line is that middle groove, so give that to second place. Sarah, look at Sarah to the inside, challenging for the top spot right out the bat due to them 4 fresh tires. compared to Jason Stewart's practically 7-lap old tires compared to the race leaders. He should be able to clear him off of turn number 4 right here. He most certainly will. Stewart's going to fall back. Here comes Will Wursler. He wants a challenge for more instead of just second spot, but he may have to settle for second at the moment unless he dives in turn 1. Caution is out once again.
Yeah, we got the number 03 of Josh Walker already 2 laps down in the 03, and he's in the inside wall coming out of turn number 4. He's going to leave the racetrack. Go back and see what happened here on the replay. Here on 3 Wide TV. Ooh, looks like he had too much beans and just got loose coming up off the corner and got that inside wall, but definitely looked like he got loose on his own accord there, I do believe. He has left the server, so he has retired the 03 for the night. Too much damage on that machine.
There was slight contact between the 24 and the 03 as the 03 is spinning. The 24 got clipped right in the right rear, just a little bit around where the right rear tire is, but it didn't affect the 24 of Alan Young. You'll see it on replay.
I'd like to see if we can get an onboard with Michael Krobach, because...
Watch this right here.
Yeah, watch that number 72 machine. He goes right up to the top of the racetrack to avoid that 03. Good heads-up awareness by Krobach to avoid any further damage. He did get damage, of course, on the first lap of the race in the inside wall. And he's trying to bounce back from that, currently in the 23rd position. We'll go back. Here we go, on board with the number 72. And, whoa! Man, that is some great heads-up driving to prevent himself from getting any further damage on that truck.
One truck down pit road, and that's Jason Stewart giving up all that track position to come down to change tires and fuel. So, interesting call on Jason Stewart's part. I guess he maybe realized, saying, man, this ain't going to work if I stay out, so I might as well just come down pit road. This is going to be a long race, it seems like. 3 cautions in the first 15 laps, so this might play out for Jason as this race goes on. Just kind of hang on the back and kind of avoid collision at the best you can. A couple other cars headed down pit road, or trucks, should I say, headed down pit road right now. That's Alan Young coming down for 4 tires and some service on that truck, and as well as Michael Krobach. He's on pit road after starting 4th in the first lap contact with Sam Maxwell. He has not recovered from it yet, but there's still a long way to go the way this race is going. It's an 80-lap race, and we've already completed 17 laps, so... a little early right now. We got some trucks still on pit road trying to repair as much damage as they can. I think the drivers may have received the 2 to go signal, so if that's the case, we should see the 1 to go signal this upcoming time by. We'll have to wait on the pace car lights.
Do want to mention that one of our drivers who was involved in the first big accident of the night, Richard Fletcher in the number 47 Caterpillar Toyota Tundra, he is back out on the racetrack. That number 47 was smoking, but he is back out there showing that he is a warrior trying to get as many laps, and he's already gained 1 spot, and you expect to see him pass the number 03 of Josh Walker here in a few laps, because that 03 is now behind the wall. I'm sure, Fletcher has an 11-lap gap to the lead lap trucks, but nonetheless, he's out there trying to gain as many points as he can. Definitely good to see.
Yeah, most definitely here. It's good to see him. There's on screen right now, Tim Knott, Jim Foose, side by side. You mentioned these drivers earlier in the night. They're, for sure, they're Peter, and both drivers have now clinched the top 10 with fairly clean Toyotas. So we'll see how these cats can do. Jim Foose was actually not bad in practice. I actually kind of was watching his practice time. He was actually top 10 in practice. So,
one other driver who struggled in qualifying but is doing pretty good in the race is Tyler Seville. He has gained 16 positions since the start of the race. He started 34th, and he's up to 18th. Jack Walls is up 10 positions. Shimmy McKee up 9. And the next driver who's gained the most positions, no surprise here, Jared Mogard started 15th. He's now running in 8th.
Yeah, Mogard's coming, boys. Slowly but surely after starting 15th, for sure. Drivers who have been falling back since the start of the race so far. One of those drivers I'm seeing, Sam Maxwell, is currently in 7th place after starting in the 3rd spot. Kelsey Rogers started 6th, currently in 15th. As I look throughout the field here, of course, Michael Krobach, who's on the tail end of the lead lap, started 4th, currently 26th right now. And as well as Alan Young, started 12th, currently 25th. So some drivers struggling a little early here tonight, but hopefully they can be able to pull it together here tonight here at Gateway. Pace car lights are now turned off. We're going green this upcoming time by. Devin Serra, Will Worsler, Mitch Brown, Evan Black, and Troy Haight, top 5. Corey Silva, Sam Maxwell, Jared Mogard, Tim Knott, and Jim Foose rounding out the top 10. So here we go. Pace car should be diving down pit road any moment here. They'll make that hard left turn to the pits. Right on the pavement. Yes, it will. Here we go. Devin Serra had a decent restart along with Jason Stewart that last restart, but now Devin is going to get on the loud pedal, as so does the number 29 of Will Worsler. Pretty much even at the line, except Serra got him by a nose. They're side by side for the top spot as they head down in the corner. Here comes Evan Black to the inside on Will Worsler. A little bit kiss to the wall from Will Worsler coming off the corner of the track. Might have slowed him down just a little bit. Evan Black started 8th. He is now challenging for the 2nd spot, and it looks like he is going to get it from Will Worsler. So credit Evan Black to 2nd place. Will Worsler does not want to give up without a fight, though. Will he look to the inside? He may not have to and may not have to run. How about Jared Mogard, though, making a move on the 94 of Corey Silva as they head down into turn number 1.
Oh, number 94 in the wall, got really loose on entry. I think he's probably running a lot of rear brake bias to try and make that truck turn, but it got wicked loose. Shot that number 94 truck up the racetrack as he tried to save it. Go back and see if we can watch this one on the 3-wide TV replay. There he goes off into turn number 1, and yep, that back end just kicks out. Makes some scrapes with the outside wall. He's got some right rear damage as well as some right front damage. So that whole right side is pancaked in on that number 94. Silva has dropped back to around the 10th position. He's currently under fire by Jared Haggerty, but that's going to move Mogard now up into 6th position.
Yeah, that was a close call for Corey Silva, man, but there was no contact, just got loose on entrance, as Haggerty is actually the first side-by-side battle with Silva for that 10th spot right now. Everybody else in the top 10 is running practically a single file race at the moment, as the field tries to fan out at the moment to single file here. Looking up toward a little bit up towards the front, Jared Mogard pushing a little pressure on Troy Haight in the 28th machine. He was right on his bumper on entrance to the corner, but kind of lost him on corner exit. Troy Haight under fire from Mogard, at least he was. Mogard knowing Mogard, he's not going to give up without a fight for sure. As Devin Serra continues to lead this race by 0.5 of a second, this time by at the start-finish line over Evan Black, it will be about 0.4 of a second. So Evan Black gained a 10th on that, just on that last lap. So Evan Black moving up towards the lead there. Troy Haight still having his pressure from Jared Mogard. The first side-by-side battle, you got to go all the way, realistically, back to Corey Silva in 11th.
Yeah, and Corey Silva has been under fire from Alex Giese now for about 2 or 3 laps. You got to think that right side damage is affecting that number 94 Chevrolet Silverado. But now look at this. Oh, we got a caution out on the racetrack. Not quite sure why. Oh, it's Miller that's gonna run. That's gonna round. That's Calvin Miller in the 84 truck. A lot of front end damage on that mobile. Go back and see what happened here on the 3-wide TV replay. I thought it might have been for Richard Fletcher, but yep, he just spun around there. Richard Fletcher was slow and off the pace on the backstretch, but that number 84, similar thing to what we've seen a couple times here now tonight, just getting loose on exit of turn number 4. A little bit too many beams and put that one in the inside fence. A tough break for Calvin.
Turn 4 has been a hot spot. I don't think we've had one caution tonight where it hasn't been off of turn number 4. That turn 4 is definitely a hot spot for drivers getting loose. So I don't know what it is about that turn 4. Maybe the truck is really on a loose setting, because in a nighttime setting like this, it helps provide grip in the track and might tighten up a little bit. But nonetheless, turn 4 has been a hot spot here tonight for these drivers. Pit road is open this time by. I am seeing every single driver in the top 10 headed down pit road on the pathway. And yes, they are. So Devin Serra leads them all down to the pits. Two-tire gamble this time? Possibly. I would still try it just to see how it would work out for that track position. We already know that it's not going to work out for 0 tires. And speaking of a driver that's staying out, Jason Stewart stays out.
Yeah, we've seen Jason Stewart kind of on an alternate strategy to your race leaders here tonight. Once again, he is showing that as Devin Serra is going to come into his pit box. Sure, we'll see 4 fresh tires out of him. I don't expect to see any of your leaders try the 2-tire gamble at this present moment in time, but if you're about 9th place on back, it might be worth a shot. There's Michael Krobach in the 72 trying to rally back through this race. He finally gets into his pits box. Had to scoot up a little bit, but doesn't look like I see anyone have a 2-tire gamble as Devin Serra will win the race off pit road over Evan Black, Mitch Brown, Will Worsler, and Jared Mogard.
Pretty good race off pit road between Black and Serra. Black almost could have had him coming on exit pit road there, but that number 1 pit stall and pit crew prevails for Devin Serra. So everybody on 4 tires. 1 driver stays out, and that's the number 1 machine, Jason Stewart. Let's see what he does here. I'm seeing some left front damage, and it might kill his speed just a little bit on the straightaways. So Jason Stewart going for this call again here, and he lost the lead as soon as they took that green flag. So when they took the green flag, he had the lead. By the time they hit the backstretch, he was challenged for the lead and lost it in 3 and 4. So Jason Stewart going for this gamble once again here. Maybe he says, okay, this time I got it, and I'm going to try to hold these guys off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm actually surprised the last time he pitted, I'm surprised he pitted when he did, because it was only a few laps. He hadn't fallen that far back in the pack, and it was only another short little run that we had until there was another caution. So it'll be interesting to see if he changes up his strategy just a little bit. Do want to mention that under this caution, Nick Curling in the number 45 machine, he was your lucky dog. He is now back on the lead lap.
The difference of tires of Jason Stewart, who last time when he stayed out was a 7-lap difference on tires. If he stays out here, which it looks like he's showing the signs that he will, it is 10-lap old tires. So 3-lap older tires this time around for Stewart. Now, a 10-lap gap between him and Serra. I really do believe this is not the correct call. I think, yeah, you're up there, you're leading laps for the bonus points, but these guys, if we do get that green flag run, they will attempt to eat you up. We should see the one to go this time by.
Yeah, Jason Stewart isn't going to hold the lead for very long. That's understandable, but you would expect to see him try and stay in the top 5 or maybe even the top 10 before he pits again. But, we'll see how this race plays out. There is actually a larger difference in laps on his tires this time than there was last time he tried this strategy. So I don't think it's going to play out as well as it did last time, where he'd only lost 1 or 2 positions when that caution came out. But nonetheless, Jason Stewart will be your race leader once we go back to green here in just about half a lap.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to hang on to that lead whatsoever. He's still going to be banking on cautions, and quite frankly, he's been kind of right about all that. That way the cautions have been flying here tonight. We've seen, 4 cautions already in the first 28 laps of this event. So these guys, and that turn 4 is a hot spot for these cats. So something to keep an eye on as we're about to go back green flag racing here. Here we go. Pace car should be dropping down. Stewart, Serra, Black, Brown, and Worsler, the top 5. Mogard, Maxwell, Valkenburg, Haggerty, and Troy Haight, the top 10. Jason Stewart on the loud pedal. This time he does get another good restart. But they might eat him up down in turn 1 and 2 and try to get to him to the backstretch. Let's see the closing rate. Oh yeah, they closed in. They just got nowhere to go with the run. Almost contact between Evan Black. Black got loose coming off of turn number 2. This is a better deal for Jason Stewart as they head down the back straightaway. He's on older tires, but here comes Black diving into turn number 3. He's going to get side by side with the race leaders. Stewart on the high side, Black on the low side. Black's got the grip and the 4 tires. to the start-finish line. It is still Jason Stewart by 8/1000ths of a second. But here comes Black on the inside row, pressure tires and all. And oh, Stewart drifted up the hill. We're 3 wide for second place. Mogart, Sarah, and Stewart. Oh, this is getting hairy for the second spot, along with Mitch Brown drafting with Jason Stewart as they head down in the third corner. Look at that number 20 machine. Really hail the mail down into the corner to get out of that 3 wide scenario. And I'm telling you what, right now, oh, Stewart's in the wall, and now he's going to get eaten up.
Yeah, that right side damage is just going to even out that number 1 machine. He already had a whole bunch of left side damage, but look at that double zero. Jared Mogart trying to sweep the triple crown. Alex Giese is loose. He's sliding through the inside of the grass. Caution is out. Not turn 4 this time, turn 2. But Alex Giese has gone for a half spin in that number 77 machine. Go back and see if we can watch this on the replay. I don't think there was any contact at all. Looks like that number 77 just broke loose there right in the center of the corner, probably just when he was getting back onto the throttle. Those rear tires giving up traction and getting that number 77 sideways.
Riding on board right here. Maybe we can get on board with Jim Foose as well. That's something I kind of want to see and explain. But look at Alex Giese, man. He's trying to save that car. You can see the wheels work right there. Just trying to save it, and doesn't look like he has initial damage on that number 77 machine, so he should be okay. But here's Jim Foose. Now watch this as they head down in the corner of the racetrack. 77 gets in harder than he wants to, but he gets on the binders just a little bit. Oh, it's snapping loose. Look at Jim Foose. Great eyes by Jim Foose right there. He slowed down the truck, and he's like, okay, he's going to go to the inside the way that truck is turning, and he went around the outside. That was great eyes and great, great paying attention all in all by Jim Foose right there to avoid Alex Giese. Pit road is open right now, seeing a bunch of drivers headed down pit road that are mainly in the back of the pack, but the drivers up towards the front have stayed out. Jason Stewart has stayed out. So
yeah, that's I think he's waiting to see another caution and just have it cycle out. And he was running around the 20th position or so when he stayed out under the last caution. So as long as he doesn't fall that far back, I think Jason Stewart has made the right call here to see if he can gain some track position. But he currently sits in the 6th position, did lose 5 spots under that last green flag run. And there you see your lucky dog. That's Chris Titus in the 04 truck. He's currently 7 laps down, but he's getting one of those laps back now. It'll be a stretch to see if we can get Chris Titus back on the lead lap, but a free lap is a good lap.
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. But let's go ahead and let's go ahead and bring up Evan Black here. See if we can dial him up on the radio. Evan Black, 3 Wide TV. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Evan, it's been a good race for you here tonight. You started 8th. We know you have a fast truck. You were actually 3rd fastest in practice on the speed charts. How is the truck feeling? It just seems like turn 4 is a hot spot for a lot of drivers here tonight as far as snapping loose. How is that truck feeling for you coming out of the corners and also the entrance at a nighttime setting of Gateway?
Yeah, this track, it's definitely getting pretty loose out of turn 4 and a little bit out of 2 if you run 5 or 6 laps. Where I started to gain on Sarah a little bit at the end of that previous run was I think it was kind of entering 3 and then out of 2 I was a bit better than him because he was getting a bit loose and was able to just kind of get up and ride right behind him before that caution came out, and then on that restart I was able to get up, get the lead, and I've always really liked this track, and I was really disappointed after how qualifying went. Running 8th, I knew I had better speed than that, and I just kind of messed it up a little bit. But out here out front, just a little bit before halfway, just keep it up there.
Iowa Speedway, you had a very fast truck, but you didn't get the finish you want. Right now, you're up towards the front. Do you feel like you're confident and capable to where you can keep that number 92 machine up towards the front and possibly bring that thing to victory lane here tonight?
Yep, for sure. Last week at Iowa, there was some issues with not having enough fuel in the truck, so that really didn't hurt my confidence at all. We're going to go out here and go try and get us a win and put on a good show for you guys.
All right. Well, Evan, I do believe, I think you're on the 2 to go, going to the 1 to go this time by. So we will let you go and let you get prepared for this restart as the race leader.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That was Evan Black, who is currently your race leader right now. And let's go ahead and kind of ring him up for you here. As we just spoken, Black is the race leader. Devin Serra, second place. There's the man to watch. You think Devin Serra and Evan Black are fast. That number 00 is also fast. Iowa's winner, Jared Mogard, and he's also trying to go and sweep the triple threat. He's got to win tonight and Chicagoland next week. Will Worsler in 4th, Mitch Brown in 5th. Jason Stewart stays out on older tires. Keep that in mind. 10-lap older tires than the rest of the field. He's currently in 6th. Jared Haggerty in 7th. Jackson Von Vulkenberg is in 8th. Troy Haight 9th. And running off the top 10, Kelsey Rogers. Kelsey Rogers trying to bring his truck back within the top 10. Outside looking in drivers, Jim Foose, Brandon Kreutz, and Jimmy McKee. Kreutz and McKee started outside the top 20 as Foose started 16th. So some drivers are trying to make their names heard, trying to bust into that top 10 there. Pace car is going to head down pit road. Evan Black already on the loud pedal, wasting no time on everybody else. Gets a good launch off of turn number 4 as the first side-by-side battle between Serra and Mogard as they head down into the corner. How about Will Worsler as well? Will Worsler doesn't want to give it up. He wants to try to join this little party battle right here. Evan Black's going to love this kind of battle if they continue to battle. Mogard. Oh, behind 93. Caution is out once again. That's number 93 machine. Trying to get his name on my list here. Brandon Kreutz, who I just talked about. And we got the gyro cam on this one, and I'm sorry, I cursed Brandon Kreutz. Let's see what happened. Oh, contact right there. Troy Haight.
You see that gyro cam getting into full action there. There was a little bit of contact with the side. I think that was, someone ran into him from behind. I think it's Dan Deffler had nowhere to go. I think that number 93 just broke, well, I don't know. I have to go back and watch that maybe from a different angle. There might have been a little bit of contact there from Troy Haight. But unfortunately for that number 93 machine, got up on its side. Was able to drive away, however, which is somewhat impressive.
Oh boy, I think I might have a couple of onboards here. Maybe Carlos can pick it up. 94 on board first. The other one's number 17 of Richard Stallings. Trying to find another one, as you can see on board, getting through the accident there. The other one, making sure he did not have any contact, Nick Curling, number 45.
Now riding on board with Richard Stallings here. We'll see this all happen in front of him, about 5 or 6 trucks in front of him. You see, oh man, you can't see that at all. You could not see that even from the front hood cam, where that's well above the driver's head. Now running on board with the number 45. This was the driver who just got his lap back a little bit ago. That's Nick Curling. You see, he tries to follow. Ooh, he doesn't follow Stallings through.
I tell you what, man, he slammed on the brakes right there.
Did a great job of avoiding that little split-second decision to go to the left and avoid the number 93 machine. Here's Doug Mullins. He doesn't get a good end to this one, unfortunately, in the inside wall. Looks like he might have got a little bit of help from behind, but man, he got a big hit with that inside wall there in that number 18 slice machine. He's got Perky Pints on the back. Of course, Perky Pints is the sponsor of tonight's Perky Pints 100. Pretty cool app. If you're a beer drinker, definitely check out Perky Pints. It's kind of a cool app. Rewards you for drinking. Gotta say, that's a win-win situation.
Well, I mean, before tonight, I didn't even know what Perky Pints was. And what is Perky Pints? Perky Pints, as Peter says, Perky Pints rewards craft beer with us, with use of the Perky Pints app, as Peter just says, both available now today on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. That's actually pretty cool that the app rewards their loyalty with discounts, free pours, along with electronic punch cards for your favorite establishments. For more information about Perky Pints, go to www.perkypints.com. Pretty cool.
Definitely pretty cool. And Tyler Seville also sporting a Perky Pints machine here tonight. So that number 11 machine. So definitely pretty cool to see them on board. Of course, also Slice Pizza Bar. If you are in the Fort Lauderdale, Tampa Bay area, excuse me, not Fort Lauderdale, St. Petersburg. I always get those Floridian towns mixed up for whatever reason. But if you are in the St. Petersburg, Tampa Bay area, check out Slice Pizza Bar on the hood of the number 11 and the number 18 machine. Pretty cool to see. Richard Fletcher has reached out to us, made a comment, said disappointing night for us in the back racing in the series. Our goal was to get into the top 20 in the standings so we could be locked into qualifying for the rest of this year. But unfortunately, that number 47's race ended early here tonight. He was involved in that first accident that we had. He was able to get back to the racetrack, but that engine did blow just before the caution that we had 2 cautions ago. So definitely a tough break for Richard Fletcher. He actually wasn't even able to pass the stricken 0-3 of Josh Walker when that engine blew. So I'm sure Richard would have liked to have gotten one more spot, but that is to no avail. But pace car lights are off, and once again, we're going to get set to go back to green. And Tanner, we have reached a halfway mark in this race.
We have reached a halfway mark this time by. The pace car lights are off, so this upcoming time by is going to be completion of lap 41. Evan Black, Devin Serra, Jared Mogard, Will Wurzler, Mitch Brown, the top 5. Jackson Valkenburg, Jared Haggerty, Troy Haight, Kelsey Rogers, and Jim Foose rounding out the top 10. So coming through turns 3 and 4. Let's see what Evan Black's going to do right here. Get on the gas right away. Nope, he looks like he's going to wait a little bit. Now he goes, and he gets a huge jump on the field, caught the whole field sleeping. As a little bit of a punt and push from Will Wurzler, Devin Serra goes to second place.
Yeah, great start for that number 92, but the battle now is side by side for the third position between Mogard and Wurzler. At least that was a battle for just about half a corner, but Will Wurzler now battles back. He's going to go for that third position to the inside of the 00, now looking a little bit further back in the pack. They're all double file back there. Some great racing back there. There's the 31 of Jimmy McKee underneath the 41 of Tim Knott. Can say that Will Wurzler has cleared Mogard.
Oh, Jared Haggerty! Huge accident!
The 94, Corey Silva involved. Nowhere for Corey Silva to go. That number 6 shot back up the racetrack, right in front of that number 94 machine. Corey Silva, I think that's going to be night over. You see that number 6 Macho, he clipped the outside wall. That broke that truck loose, shot back up the racetrack. Tim Knott in the 41 there, nowhere to go. Good avoidance there by the 77 of Alex Giese. But that number 6, it is game over for him. Riding on board with Haggerty here. You see that contact with the outside wall got loose.
Oh my goodness, vicious. Oh my gosh. 2 onboards I got for you, Mr. Production Truck. 31, Jim McKee, and Jim Foose, 42.
It looked like he had gotten into the outside wall, but he actually didn't. It just broke loose on him. And yeah, we'll go back and riding on board. I think Jimmy McKee here in the 31 did a good job of avoiding it. Oof. Good avoidance.
But now watch this one. This was a really big one I was watching. Jim Foose search for onboard cameras here on my end. Watch Jim Foose, man. I mean, this accident's going to happen. He's on the gas, he's on the throttle, and coming up the track. Oh, that could have been big for Jim. And he's having a good night tonight, too. So you got lucky right there as pit road is open. And speaking of Jim Foose, he is coming down pit road. There's another driver on pit road, and it would be the right in front of Jim Foose there, trying to make out who that is. That is Jackson von Valkenburg, actually literally leading the field onto pit road. The 6 of Haggerty is all beaten up, torn to shreds, slower than everybody else. So Jackson von Valkenburg hits pit road, and that would be 6th on back, coming to the pits.
All those leaders on pit road. All those drivers on pit road, I should say, because there is Evan Black. He did stay out.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and let's got a report here. Let's go ahead and talk to Mr. Jared Haggerty here. Peter, you want to take this one?
Sure thing, and here he is in the booth. Jared, that was an absolute hard hit there coming out of turn number 4. It seems like turn 4 is where a couple of drivers have been struggling here tonight. What's your take on it here tonight? How's that truck handling, and will you be able to get back out?
Well, I'm watching the replay right now. I just flat out hit the apron barely right there. I'm watching it right now. I hit it just barely, and she just went around on me. There was nothing I could do. I'm probably not going to be able to get back out of here, and unfortunately, that's my either second or third strike, so I'm probably going to be out for next week, so we will see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a tough hit with that number 6 machine. You know, like you said, this racetrack, it does have those rumble strips that all of a sudden upset the car, and when they do, it goes big on you. But you know, how do you bounce back from this type of accident? Because it's definitely kind of gut wrenching when it happens on your own accord.
Well, we'll see. It's rough. It sucks when it happens to you, and it sucks when you take out a few drivers, especially a teammate. I got Tim involved there, one of my teammates, so I feel really bad about that. I gotta apologize to him because I know he was trying to get back into the race, but hopefully we can bounce back, and hopefully you'll see me next week on the track. I'm not sure if you'll see me next week on the track, depending on the new rules, but I know I caused 2 cautions last week, so we'll see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Jared Haggerty, driver of the number 6 machine. Hopefully you're able to bounce back, Jared, and we hope to see you again either next week or in a few weeks, depending on how it all shakes out.
All right, 10-4, guys. Thank you.
All right, well, Tanner, you can hear that. He is definitely dejected here, and like he said, you know, you don't want to take out your teammate ever, and Tim in that number 41 was involved. Tim sitting on pit road trying to get as much damage as he can fixed currently, and Haggerty unfortunately had a great night going.
Yeah, he had both drivers had a very good night going, as long as it's Corey Silva for sure, and it's very unfortunate like that. But that's just the unfortunate circumstance. We got the one to go signal off of turn number 2 right now. I don't know if we will have time for it, but anyways, nonetheless. You know, it's very unfortunate, but that's just the circumstance of racing, and sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. But you have to shrug your shoulders and kind of move on to the next race and focus on the next event. So let's kind of move on here with Evan Black, Devin Serra, Will Worsler, Mogard, Brown, the top 5. Kelsey Rogers, Jimmy McKee, Richard Stallings, Doug Mullins is all the rest of the top 10 here. I'm trying to see who's on fresher tires here. Stallings is on fresher tires than everybody else, but the big fresh guys is 13th on back on fresh tires. But there is some guys on fresher tires like Stallings, Stewart, Mullins, Bray, and the green flag is out. Evan Black on the loud pedal. We'll keep an eye on the guys, how well they do on fresh stickers. The first side-by-side battles between Serra and Worsler for the second spot. Here we go on board, or there was an onboard view of the race leader. Man, Will Worsler drifted up the track a little bit, man, but he does not make contact with them. He will lose momentum, though, as he battles side-by-side with Jared Mogard in the 00 machine as they head down into turn number 3, side-by-side. Oh, he captured the rumble strips just a little bit, drifted up the track. Might kill his momentum, but I think he got a better run through turn 4 than ever because he's going to beat Mogard to the start-finish line. Great camera views right here by Carlos Acosta and SimTV.
Yeah, and you can hit those rumble strips. Oh, the 45! Around, that's Nick Curling, who's gone around in the back. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage accrued under this accident. He's got some damage from an earlier accident. Go back and we'll see this replay. He's got the 42 of Jim Foose there underneath him. And that number 45, he just drove it in a little bit deep, and just the back end broke loose. And I think that that's just one of those things where brake bias might be playing a factor in that one. And you know, Tanner, on a racetrack like this, you want to dial as much rear brake bias in as possible because you want to get that truck to rotate, but you don't want it to rotate that much. As you look out the back bumper of that number 45, it looks like he kept it off at the wall. A couple of trucks went chaotically to avoid it.
Oh man, 77 and it's 18 on board right here, but I got 2 onboards, 28 and 77, Carlos, if you can. But nonetheless, here's the 18, man. His bad luck just went from bad to worse, it sounds like.
Well, I'm just gonna say, Tanner, that we have some very different strategies currently playing out. We got your leaders on pit road. A lot of those trucks, as you highlighted, had actually stayed out under this last caution. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Riding on board here with the 28 of Troy Haight in that machine. Yeah, coming down turn 4, coming down to the start-finish line. You can see the 45 just to the outside of that bright yellow number 42 of Jim Foose. Drives off into the corner. See that 45 start to break loose? Good job there by
77.
Okay, let's go to Alex Giese here. He's the first truck behind the number 45 of Nick Curling. You see him there. Oh, he checks up. He does a fantastic job getting on the binders to slow up that number 77 truck and avoid any damage. But meanwhile, while we've been looking at these replays, Devin Serra has come off pit road. He's the first car off pit road. However, he's going to be mired back in the pack. And as we go back and see one more look here, not quite sure who this is on. Ooh, we see this, the 11 of Tyler Seville. But this is the 93 of Brandon Krutz, who was on his side not too long ago, avoiding any further damage. But your former race leader, Devin Serra, who's led most of this race, is going to drop all the way back now to the 10th position. So that's pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see if he can work his way through these trucks in front of him. Of course, he's on the freshest tires, but nonetheless, he's going to have some work cut out for him here with 29 laps to go.
Richard Stallings, Jason Stewart, Edward Bray, and Doug Mullins, the top 4 drivers, all staying out on tires. Not too much of a difference. If anything, it's going to be like a 6-lap difference between tires. Everybody back from, let's see here, trying to see on my live timing, and scoring keeps messing up here. You got Jackson Valkenburg, Sam Maxwell, Jim Fuchs, Alex Giese, Troy Haight all staying out. Now, under this caution, the drivers that came down pit road is Devin Serra. He will be lined up in the 10th position. So 10th on back, all on 4 fresh tires, ahead of those guys from 5th to 9th is on 6 lap old tires compared to the guys who are 4 fresh ones. And Richard Stallings, Jason Stewart, Edward Bray, Doug Mullins all have about 13 lap old tires. So there's a little bit of a leeway between Stallings, Stewart, Bray, and Mullins right now. They could probably hold their own for a little bit, but again, if we do get a good green flag run, it will be tough to hold off the guys who have 4 fresh tires.
It will be tough. Some of those drivers, however, in front of them have shown some speed, especially like Sam Maxwell. He's going to be restarting in the 6th position. Maxwell started, of course, 3rd on the inside of the 2nd row. Has kind of lost a few spots in the race so far, trying to use some strategy to gain some track position once again in that number 98 Sam Maxwell Customs Chevy Silverado. But nonetheless, he's going to be one of the tough ones for the dominant leader Devin Serra to pass.
Most definitely. I'm just curious how this is all going to play out. This could be good strategy the way this race is going on right now. We're less than 30 laps to go, so could be good strategy right here. Stallings, Stewart, Bray, Mullins, guys staying out here. Jackson Valkenburg, Sam Maxwell, Jim Foose, Alex Giese, Troy Haight. Top 9 drivers. 4 fresh tires on back under this caution. Devin Serra in 10th and on back, and so forth. So here we go.
I was just going to say Dan Deffler has taken his truck to the garage as the green flag is back in the air. Look at Richard Stallings, man. He jumped out to a huge restart here in that number 17 machine over the 1 of Jason Stewart, who has been trying a different strategy all night long. Now he's up into the 2nd position once again with a 66 of Edward Bray right behind him. Look at that number 17 wash up a little bit in the middle of turns number 1 and 2. Now side by side right in front of Jim Foose, riding on board with the number 42 Menards Toyota as they head down the back straight, going off into turn number 3. Look at that number 20. That's Devin Serra, who's boxed in at the moment, right behind the 28 of Troy Haight. gonna expect to see that number 20 trying to move forward. He has dominated this race so far, but now stuck back there in traffic. Richard Stallings leads here 1 lap into this green flag run.
Man, looks like the guys are... Oh, contact! 18's around, huge accident! Big accident, and it's just taken out a bunch of guys who ran up towards the front here tonight, a bunch of fast drivers, including drivers who has a win this season. Mogard's involved. Evan Black is involved. This is huge complications right here. There's a huge stack up down in turn number 2. Let's take a look at the replay. Some had to have happened with the number 18 of Doug Mullins.
Yeah, I saw that number 18 get sideways. Not quite sure if there was any contact or not, but he was down there on the inside line. Nowhere for Sarah, Evan Black, or Jared Mogard to go. Those 3 trucks been so fast, like you said. And waiting on this replay. See if there might have been some contact there
I think there was contact between Sam Maxwell may have accidentally just slightly tapped the 18 of Doug Mullins. I'm just trying to get an onboard aerial view right now of this incident, of everybody trying to go through here. Jim Foose gets through, almost making contact with Alex Giese. Giese actually does hit the outside wall. Evan Black gets a huge hit. There's contact between the 86. Devin Sarah, Will Worsler, Mitch Brown just squeaks by. Here we go. Who are we on board with?
We're riding on board with Alex Giese in the 77. Ooh, contact with Jim Foose there. Oh, and then it goes from bad to worse. That 77 getting on his side. I think that number 77 was able to
35.
Live back to pit road under his own power. He was. Let's see if we can ride on board with Kelsey Rogers here in the 35 truck.
I think this is a good one for you guys.
How did he get through that one?
Oh man, that's very unfortunate for a lot of these drivers though. But yeah, Kelsey Rogers. Here's Devin Sarah.
Yeah, he's down there behind Troy Hay, and man, that happened all so fast. Really nothing he could see from the driver's perspective. You can see it a little bit better there on the roof cam than what the driver actually can see. That roof cam, of course, elevated probably about 1.5 feet above the driver's head in the cockpit of that truck. Definitely a tough break, but there is your race leader, driver of the number 66. That is Edward Bray. He's followed by Sam Maxwell in the number 98, and Troy Hay, good run for him. We'll see if we can talk to, I think it's Doug Mullins in the number 18. See if we can drag him up here, Tanner. Let's see if, yeah, I believe he is with us. Doug Mullins, Peter Short here in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Oh, man, well, it's a lot better up here than it is down there in that number 18 truck. Definitely a tough way to end your night. You definitely showed that you had pace in that Slice 18 Toyota Tundra. Talk us through what happened there, because it definitely happened quite quickly.
Well, just coming into that corner in the restart, I feel like, you know, there was not the pace of the race. I would say that we were keeping, and so I checked up just a little bit so I didn't take out the guy in front of me. And I think that, you know, I think Sam wasn't expecting me to slow down for who was in front of me, so that we didn't pile up, and he got into me, and that turned it, and that turned the whole pace of events.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like a little bit of contact. I'm interested to hear, what was your mind there going on the strategy? How were tires here tonight? How is the tire wear out there? Because you were one of those drivers who stayed out there to get some track position there.
Tires were fine. I mean, we haven't had that many green laps, really. You know, we stayed out. I wasn't getting loose out of the corners or anything. I can't remember who it was in front of me that was above me, but yeah, it just kind of unfortunate. You know, there's not a whole lot that anybody could do right there. Like I said, I checked up a little bit, and Sam got in the back of me a little bit, and you know, it's kind of hard to really blame it on him as well because he was so close. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm having a rough struck a luck here with these races lately.
Absolutely. Well, we hope to see you again next week at Chicagoland. Before we let you go, you have a quick moment to give us some shout-outs because we're about to go back to Green Flag Racing.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You got a quick moment to give us some shout-outs. We're about to go back to Green Flag Racing. Got any shout-outs?
Oh yeah. If y'all are in Tampa, hit up Slice. They're in Indian Rocks Beach and Deer Beach. Open up a third location, Perky Pints. It's a customer loyalty app for craft beer. Check it out. It's on both app stores. And awesome.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Doug Mullins, and tough break here tonight for that number 18 machine, but we'll see him, I'm sure, at Chicagoland here in a week. But Tanner, pace car lights are off. We're getting set to go back to Green Flag Racing. Take it away.
We have a new race leader, and it's Edward Bray. As he gets on the loud pedal, we're back Green Flag Racing right now with some damage on his truck. Sam Maxwell in a second position right now, closely followed behind Will Worsler and Troy Haight. As I head down to turn number 1, Mitch Brown got by that accident with a clean truck on his thing. He's all over the back bumper of Will Worsler. He makes contact. He loosens him up. My goodness, he loosens up Will Worsler there. Will Worsler's going to lose some heavy momentum here. I don't know if Will's going to be happy about that. Meanwhile, a little bit towards the back of the pack right now, we got some battling for the top spot with the 31 machine of Jimmy McKee, who got by a couple incidents here this evening, as well as the number 17 of Richard Stallings. So we have some heavy hitters who are out of the race so far. That would have been Devin Serra, Evan Black. Actually, those guys are on pit road getting their trucks all fixed up. But look at this battle on screen here. That is 31 Jimmy McKee. Kelsey Rogers, 35, side by side. This is a battle for the 8th position.
Yeah, and you know what? We're down to only 15 trucks on the lead lap, which is impressive considering, you know, how many trucks we started with. There you see Jim Fusi got a little bit loose. Foose is loose there going through turns number 3 and 4, and he's going to lose a little bit of, footloose. There you go. But there's a side-by-side battle now for the 3rd position between Mitch Brown and Troy Haight in the number 28 machine. There is Mitch. He's to the inside as we have a side-by-side battle now for the race lead right in front of these two. Sam Maxwell has dove to the inside of Edward Bray. They're side-by-side through turns number 3 and 4. Oh, contact the 28. Troy Haight is around. He's sliding back up the racetrack. He's going to get it woed down. Just down there on the apron right there with the curb. Not sure if there was any contact with the number 51 truck. Those two trucks were definitely close going off into the corner. Looking out back of that number 28. Oh, yep, definitely a little bit of a nudge there from Mitch Brown. Oh, and the 29 of Will Worsler got a good chunk of it there.
Oh, that could have been bigger too.
Yeah, I'm glad that number 28 was able to slam on the brakes, keep it bound on those binders, and did come back up the racetrack. We've seen that a couple times here tonight. There you can see that number 28 gets her sideways, and Will Worsler had really nowhere to go in that number 29 machine. Probably getting a little bit more damage. Not what he was hoping to see. But we have some split strategy. The 11 of Tyler Seville currently running in the 5th position. Lots of damage on that number 11 machine. Oh yeah, he got a piece of it. That's probably why he's on pit road right now. He got help from behind as well, kind of scrunching up that number 11 machine, making it a little bit shorter. And there he is in his pit box here. We only have 17 laps to go. This race, considering there's been all these cautions, it's gone by relatively quickly. It's been an action-packed race. There's the 42, Jim Foose on pit road. The 06, Jack Wells down as well. But it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, because we had a lot of trucks stay out on the racetrack, including Sam Maxwell, who is now your race leader. He was able to get past Edward Bray there in turn number 3 and 4 before that caution came out. But some trucks coming down, getting fresh tires, and some trucks staying out there on the racetrack should once again give us a split strategy, which could make things interesting at the end.
This has been an interesting race all the way around, because I'm seeing little drivers that start in the top 10 remain in the top 10, but one of them, Sam Maxwell, Mitch Brown, Will Worsler, Kelsey Rogers, all remaining in the top 5 actually since the drop of the green flag, with the exception of Kelsey Rogers. But everybody else is making good progress. Up with Jim McKee, man, he's avoided some accidents, got a couple scuffs here and there, but he started 22nd. Jason Stewart 13th, Richard Starling started 19th, but and Jim Foose 16th. But that running order is going to get all mixed up here just in a little bit as they come across the start-finish line. One driver I have been kind of keeping an eye on, he's got a relatively clean truck. Started 33rd, that's Jack Wells in the 006 machine, currently running in 10th place. So a good run for him, as well as Tyler Sawville, but he just got some damages under this last incident. But that Perky at Slice Pizza Bar and Perky Pints in the back of the truck. Tyler Sawville, 34th up to 12th. Edward Bray? Yeah, let's go ahead and bring up Edward Bray here. And Edward Bray, this is 3YTV, Tanner Sharp. You got a copy?
Got a copy.
Edward, you've had some good speed here tonight. You got some crinkles on the front and nose of the truck, including the back of the truck. But it seems like that truck is handling pretty good for you. Are you able to carry your speed? And what's the strategy for this race, the way this race has been gone? It just seems like track position is that key here tonight. And how well is your truck handling coming off the corner exit, such as turn 4?
I wanted to, it was a little tough. Coming out of 2 sort of slows me down a little bit, but sort of moving the truck around a little bit, trying to find that speed off. 3 and 4 is actually pretty good. As long as I'm staying in the middle and keeping everybody to my inside, I should get better runs, and I'm hoping to at least finish in the top 5 with the damage that I have. The crew's actually done pretty well.
All right, you just reached the 1-to-go signal here, Edward. Any plans to try to keep this thing, to try to beat Sam Maxwell? What do you got to do to try to beat him if he's kind of in your line?
I've got to keep that middle line, keep him down below me. It's the only way I can sit there and try to get stay in.
Sounds like passing is a hard thing to do on a track like this. So, Edward, thank you for taking the time to talk with us. We got the 1-to-go signal. We're going to let you go.
Thank you.
That's Edward Bray in the number 66 machine, currently up to 2nd place. All right, so let's reset everything here, since we do have drivers that did pit. Sam Maxwell, Edward Bray, Mitch Brown, Will Worsler, Kelsey Rogers. They've all stayed out. Jimmy McKee, Jason Stewart is in 7th. Jackson Von Volkenberg 8th. Jim Foose, I know for a fact, pitted. He's 9th. Calvin Miller rounding out the top 10. Actually, in fact, Peter, I am showing Kelsey Rogers is on fresher tires than anybody surrounding him at the moment. Fresher tire guys, Jackson Von Valkenburg on back. So here we go. That would have been 8th on back, by the way, but Sam Maxwell already on the loud pedal. Edward Bray already being challenged for the 2nd spot. Looks like Edward got caught sleeping on this restart. He's going to lose 2nd place as they head down into turn number 1 and 2. Maxwell, Edward Bray gets close to the back bumper of Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown's got a fast truck, loose truck. Jason Stewart spinning in the infield in the back straightaway. He's in trouble, no caution.
Yeah, he's able to save it, keep that truck going straight, but don't look now. But here comes the number 35 of Kelsey Rogers. He's been pretty quiet tonight in that number 35. We've seen Kelsey Rogers up near the front.
Caution.
The 17 is around. Troy Hate's involved. Jim Foose is involved. Kurtz is involved. A couple of trucks. The 45 curling in it as well. This is not what we were hoping to see here with only 13 laps to go. Remember, we do have green light checkers here. Go back and see. It looks like that number 17 was already a little bit up out of shape.
Yeah, he was, but I think he may have he was out of shape, and by the time he corrected it, he got it straight. But Jim Foose already had a run due to his out of shape, and Jim just made contact with his left rear quarter panel, or it could have been vice versa, and Jim just got turned around, nowhere to go.
Yeah, that was just kind of a coming together there, kind of a racing deal.
That 06 again avoided another incident.
Yeah, that 06, Jack Wells. He's been close to pretty much everything tonight. But there isn't a scratch on that 06
there
truck.
For Jim.
Yeah, I think the 17 just kind of came down on Jim, just as a happenstance of him saving that number 17 machine. And unfortunately for Jim Foose, you can see that for number 42 ended up backwards. He is able to stay out there on the racetrack. Running on board with the 84 now is what I'm hearing. That's Calvin Miller. Great rebound for Calvin Miller. He was lapped down earlier, and you can see he got a big piece of it there, but that number 84 still running. Definitely interesting to see that Chevy engine under the hood can go through that one. Riding on board with Troy Haight now.
Make sure you get 06 there, Carlos.
Doesn't look like Troy Haight's going to have all too much damage there. He did a good job. Almost got hit by. Looks like got a little bit of help there from Nick Curley there at the end. But Yeah,
Carlos
watch
is
the
gonna love this.
06. We saw him just squeak by the 28 of Troy Haight from Troy Haight's on board, so I'm sure this one's going to be even better
Yeah.
view.
And he's done that more than once tonight, man. Luck is on his side, but hopefully he didn't drain the luck bank out.
Yeah, we still have a decent number of laps to go here in this one.
Well,
But Jack Wells is leading the way for Maxed Out Sims Motorsports, so Maxed Out Sim Racing.
Peter, should I go ahead and throw a commentary curse or no?
I would say no.
Okay.
The way
I
this
won't.
race has been going, I don't think so.
Okay, so with that being said, we have not talked about it since before the race, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to wait till the checkers fly, and then I'll say it.
There you go. I do want to mention for all you people at home keeping an eye on the triple threat. The triple threat, of course, paid out an extra $25. It pays out $25 to win last week's race, this race, and the next week's race at Chicagoland Speedway. And it paid out an extra $25 to a person who would be able to win all three. But unfortunately, last week's winner at Iowa Speedway, that of course being Jared Mogard in the double stereo, he has retired that truck. At least it appears he's retired the truck. It's currently sitting on pit road. He will not be able to win the additional $25. So tough break for Jared Mogard, but that means we'll have a new triple threat winner here tonight, which will be awesome to see. Be just interesting to see who can get it done here in 10 laps time.
Peter, I'm kind of looking at this on a strategy basis here for this race, and this race has been all strategy for a little while now due to the way this race has gone, but I do want to point out something. Keep an eye on that number 86, Jackson von Valkenburg. Right now, he is currently, I'm trying to do my math, I got my calculator all broken out here, and Valkenburg is on the freshest tires compared to everybody on back with the exception of the 11th place car, Nick Curley. Valkenburg's tires are 13 laps or better than the guys ahead of him. It's been 26 laps since Maxwell pitted, Mitch Brown 20, Kelsey Rogers 14, Edward Bray is in fourth, he's got 31 laps. I mean, he's got fresher tires than these guys ahead of him. If we do get a green flag run for whatever reason, he'll have a good finish here tonight if this thing stays clean and green and he can keep it clean himself. So with that being said, Maxwell is your race leader. Mitch Brown, Kelsey Rogers, Edward Bray, Jimmy McKee, the top 5, Warslord, Valkenburg, Sawville, Kreutz, and Jack Wells, the top 10. So let's go ahead. Maxwell already catching the field sleeping. He gets a great restart. And that's the beneficiary to the race leader. First side-by-side battle between Kelsey Rogers and Mitch Brown as they head down into the top, turn 1 and 2. Mitch Brown has been in the top 5 all night long, clean truck, but he has yet to lead a lap this evening. Look at him now, towards the inside of Sam Maxwell as he goes down into turn number 3. Side by side, I do believe he has the fresher tires than Maxwell does, and most certainly Mitch Brown will take the lead off turn number 4. Mitch Brown to the top spot for the first time tonight.
Yeah, he did a great move there, got that great run coming out of turn number 2, and was able to power around by that number 98 in turns number 3 and 4, but he got a little bit loose there in turns number 1 and 2. This lap, here comes Sam Maxwell once again, trying to close right on that back number, the number 51. Not quite able to do anything with him just yet. And look at Kelsey Rogers there, lurking in the 3rd position. Side-by-side battle, not too far behind them, as the number 11 of Tyler Seville is underneath the 66 of Ed Bray. You see that there on the right-hand side of your screen. There they are. Look at Jackson Van Valkenburg. You mentioned he's on the freshest tires out of this top 10. He's trying to find a way around these 2 trucks right in front of him as caution flag is out once more here at the Gateway Speedway.
Jack Wells, his good night tonight on avoiding accidents just kind of bit him as he just drained the luck bank out on avoiding it all. As he just got a slight tap from behind. Actually, he got loose at first, then got tapped by Jason Stewart. And he actually got finished off by Stewart and spun out off of turn number 2. So that's very unfortunate for Jack. He is up and running and still ready to go. But Mitch Brown has stayed out. Now, this is a critical caution. Do you want tires or do you not want tires? I don't know. What do you do here? This could be a green, white, checkered finish. Do you want to try to fake some guys out and go for an advantage, or how do you want to do this? Looks like as they come up to the pathway into turn number 3, drivers staying out.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough laps for tires to make a difference. I mean, Jackson Van Valkenburg, he's on fresher tires than most of these drivers in front of him, but he was just stuck in that 7th position, could not find a way around either Ed Bray or Tyler Seville, who was blocking the way right in front of him. So I think this is a good call by your top 5, even your top 10. There might be a few trucks on pit road, one of those drivers being Jack Wells, just going to come down and take tires. In fact, Jack Wells is the only driver on pit road currently. It looks like Troy Haight in the number 28 sitting on pit road. I think he will possibly be retiring that Chevrolet, so tough break for Troy. Been sitting on pit road now for quite some time, so I think your lucky dog will be the number 03, I believe. That's Chris Titus. 04, excuse me.
Tell you what, Peter, and Carlos back on the production truck, I know you're hearing Peter and I. These cats, right now, these boys, better get this race done over with, because we're less than 5 minutes until the session completely ends on the 1 hour, 20-minute mark. So, and we will not be having a green, white, checkered just yet, though. It was over the 5-lap mark when the caution came out, and these cautions have been going out fairly decent pretty quick here tonight. So, with that being said here, folks, but what I'm trying to say is that this session, this race has been set up for a time distance of 1 hour and 20 minutes. And we've already hit the 1 hour, 16-minute mark. So about 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes now coming up, that this race will conclude if the race ends under the session timer. So these guys kind of want to not wreck anymore and try to finish this under a green flag condition so you can capture a good white flag and checkered flag finish. Otherwise, for the first time this season, this race will end under the session timer. So 3 minutes and counting right now as the pace car lights still remain turned on. And they do have green, white, checkered set up as well.
You know what, Tanner? I think we're going to get a green checker. We have 1 minute 22 second pace lap. And I think, assuming we have the 2 to green right now, we're going to get back around with about 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the session. So if we do have the 2 to green right now, we will get a 1-lap shootout here at Gateway Motorsports Park.
Yeah, that's very true. So there's been a lot of cautions tonight that allowed this time frame to come to this point, but that's just, and I mean, I'm at 22 per lap. I mean, that's pretty long for a 1.25 mile racetrack. These drivers, they do, there's a lot of discussion. Thank you, Carlos. There's a lot of discussion could be happening this week over social media about this still, but nonetheless, it is what it is right now. So, will we see the one to go signal this time by from the pace car? If not, okay, good, we do. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and line them up for you. Mitch Brown is your race leader, Sam Maxwell second, Kelsey Rogers in third, Jim McKee fourth, and Tyler Sawville rounding out the top 5. Great run for Sawville, by the way, 34th up to 5th. Edward Bray in 6th. Jackson Von Valkenburg in 7th. 8th place, Jason Stewart. Will Worsler 9th. Brandon Krutz is rounding out the top 10. I think it's Krutz, not Krutz, excuse me. I've been saying Krutz this entire time. It's actually Krutz, I think. So
it is going to be interesting. I don't think we will get 2 laps in here. We will have 2 laps to go once we go green. However, the time will probably end it before, but nonetheless, it will be interesting to see how iRacing decides to score this. It's essentially iRacing's way of rain coming in and ending the race early.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder how the league organizers is going to feel about this whole ordeal. So I guess you could say virtual rain is on its way. And here we go. Mitch Brown already on the gas pedal. Maybe he realizes that scenario. We're back green flag racing. Mitch Brown past the start finish line. First side-by-side battle should be for the second spot between Maxwell and Ryder. There's contact. This will bring out a caution. Green, white, checkered. And this will probably end the race due to the time limit, or the AKA virtual rain that is really non-existent here on iRacing, but we can call it that for sure. There was contact between Maxwell and Kelsey Rogers down in turn number 1. Here's the replay. Oh man, just got into him.
Yeah, that number 35 was just kind of leaning on him there on the entrance of the corner. Wasn't giving him too much room, but I think Sam Maxwell is trying to go for the apex, and there was that contact there. We'll have to see if Sam Maxwell has to say anything about it. He's carrying a lot of speed right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. He's carrying a lot of speed. Pace car's down 3 and 4, so that's why he's trying to catch the pace car.
So we did not get the checkered flag there, so they will come around and complete the final lap. We will not go back to green flag racing now. Presumably so.
I was just saying, I have not seen the white flag come out yet, and I'm still showing the 1 hour and 20 minute mark. So, and that's how long this race. It's an 82 lap race I'm showing, not 80. So, I thought it was an 80 lap race. My bad. I read that totally wrong. But here we go. Is this it?
It looks like we're still racing.
Yeah.
The race will be extended for a green-white checker finish. That's what the iRacing officials have said.
Yep.
So, man, that's kind of interesting. We have eclipsed the 1 hour 20 minute session length, but the green-white checker might just extend the session, which is kind of interesting. I'm wondering if iRacing is aware of that or not, but that's at least good for the fans back at home. I was completely surprised at that, but nonetheless, pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought this was an 82 lap race. That's just because of due to the green white checker. I am still getting used to this green white checkered stuff and its coding on how everything operates here on iRacing for sure. Nonetheless, this race was an 80 lap race. It's now been extended to a green white checkered, so this will be an overtime finish. iRacing has not ended the session, so with that being said, the rain, the non-realistic, the fake rain has moved away from the speedway. Whatever you want to call it, has moved away from the speedway. No word on iRacing officials on ending all this. So with that being said, we still remain here, and we should see a green-white checkered finish.
Yeah, and do want to say, I'm still curious about this 1 hour and 20 minute time limit. The race is currently at 1 hour and 19 minutes since they dropped the green flag. So it is possible that based on the race timer, that they could still see the checkered flag before the green-white checker is finished. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I was watching my timer on my left-hand top of the screen, the elapsed time. I just don't know if that's 100% accurate right there, but, I mean, it could very well be. We'll keep you guys in the loop on everything that's going on, but as of right now, we know for sure, we can confirm that this should be a green-white checkered finish, unless iRacing says otherwise.
It is attempt 1 of 3.
Okay, so we got 3 attempts. Hopefully iRacing doesn't say, nope, we're done.
Hopefully that is the case. Pace car has stayed out on the racetrack for another lap here. But you see all those trucks currently single file. We'll see if they get the one to green this time by. No checkered flag waving in the flagman's hand, so that's a good sign to see, as these drivers have now eclipsed the 1 hour and 20 minute mark since the start of this race, now at 1 hour 20 minutes and 57 seconds.
Well, I don't care, Peter. I love this scenario. I mean, I don't want iRacing to end this race. I want these guys to end this race. I want this green-white checkered to be in use. I want to see this end like this. This is a green-white checkered. Forgive us on the graphics package here, folks. We don't have the updates yet due to this, so we'll keep you in the loop. Green-white checkered means you're going to take the green flag, then the next time by, you're going to take the white flag, and then the next time by, you take the checkered flag. So it's a 2-lap shootout, 1 of 3 attempts. And if the leader takes the white flag, the next flag should end the race. I have not seen that scenario yet happen on iRacing, so I'm not 100% sure if that is necessarily true. But in real-life NASCAR terms, the next flag ends the race once the leader's taken the white flag. Pace car lights are turned off to head down pit road. Mitch Brown, Kelsey Rogers, Jim McKee, Everett Bray, and Tyler Sawville, the top 5. As Mitch Brown already on the loud pedal, we're back green flag racing. Got to keep an eye on turn 1 and 2, see who's going to accidentally hit somebody. So far, so good on double file racing. Jimmy McKee side by side with Edward Bray, getting close quarters contact right there. Look at Tyler Sawville taking advantage of this situation in the number 11 machine. Man, these guys are so close to each other. Mitch Brown so far has pulled away from Kelsey Rogers. Tyler Sawville, the first side-by-side battle as they head down in turn number 3. Sawville's battling with Edward Bray as they come off turn number 4. And we just got confirmed that iRacing is ending the session. White flag is out right now. I'm being shown. You're seeing shown checkered? I didn't show the checkered yet.
I think
I'm going to keep going here. This is the white flag lap right here. So Mitch Brown down the back straightaway. And he looks like he will take the checkered flag. Mitch Brown was in the top 5 all night. Didn't lead until the late stages of the race. And he is going to lead the last and most important lap. And that's the final one. Mitch Brown will visit victory lane tonight here in the Sam Maxwell Customs Pesty Pints 100. Here at Gateway Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I think they actually did end the lap early, which is somewhat surprising. A lot of drivers said down pit road right now, so I think they did hit that time limit. iRacing, that was a little bit squirrely. There was an accident on that the first lap on the green flag lap, just after we got halfway down the back stretch. Jim Foose in the number 42 machine was involved in that accident. We'll go back, maybe see if we can get a replay of that accident. Jared Haggerty in the 6 was involved. You see he's getting help from his race teammate and race winner, Mitch Brown, in that number 51 machine. So that's a pretty impressive way to good teamwork there. The 3 Sim Marketing Solutions Toyota Tundras, they're working together. As that number 51, Mitch Brown will light it up on the front straightaway here. Finally, we have a spin on the front stretch that doesn't bring out the caution flag. Smoke is flying up into the crowd. Everyone will be excited. We'll go back and see if we can catch a replay, possibly of that last, what turned out to be the last lap accident. Just getting reports that we actually don't have that replay for you, unfortunately. But Jim Foose, Tim Nod, and Jared Haggerty were all involved in that accident. That's going to relegate Jim Foose to a 12th place finish in the number 42.
Yeah, he was running top 10, but that's very unfortunate for him. But folks, please do not go away. We're going to interview the top 3 drivers in your top 3 tonight. Mitch Brown, Kelsey Rogers, and Jimmy McKee. Don't go away. Live here on 3Y TV from Gateway Motorsports Park.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to an eventful night here at Gateway Motorsports Park for the Perky Pints 100, the 2019 Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series. We just see the conclusion of this race. Apparently, iRacing ended the race, so when they came across the start-finish line, that was the finish of the race. So we've caught up with quite a few drivers here. Peter Short, you're back, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we're going to go from fourth to first. So we got, or not fourth to first, but let's talk to Mr. Jim Foose here about an eventful night here. Peter, you've caught up with Jim.
That's right. I have caught up with driver of the number 42 Menards Toyota Tundra. And Jim, man, it was an interesting night for you. You worked your way up into the top 10, but there at the very end, you got caught up when a little bit of a scuffle there with the number 98 going on the backstretch. What's your point of, what was the way you see it, and just tell us about your night.
The way I see it is, we were ahead of the 98, and he went up into the gray area there where they have that little access road, kind of makes the track a little wider for a couple feet, and he just made a left-hand turn and came down and hooked us and put us on the wall, took us out of a top 10 running spot, and he preaches clean racing and giving room and respect and doesn't show any of it on the track. And I love Sam to death, but this was not one of his finer moments tonight here.
Yeah, definitely not the way you want to finish that number 42 Menards Toyota Tundra night. But it was a really interesting race, an up-down race, lots of cautions. You kept that number 42 truck clean most of the night. How did you keep that 42 clean? Because we saw you on board a couple of times getting through those wrecks just very closely.
Well, it just, you got to understand that this is a track that essentially is two drag strips and two completely different corners. So you have to treat each end of the track differently. You have to treat the straightaways as if they're drag strips and try to get what you can on them, and then set yourself up for a good corner entry. And then as you go through the corner, a good corner exit to get going down the next one. So really, it was just kind of judging who I was around and knowing how a lot of these guys race. We've raced 20 races or something like that this year together already. So really just enough to enough knowledge there to show that we had what it took there to get around the track. And I guess I lost my train of thought there. Too much sawdust from walking around Menards. But you just got to know who you're racing and race the track, but also race the guys that you're competitively racing. Don't get yourself into races with people who are way faster, and try to get around the ones that are a little slower than you as quick as you can, and just not get tied up in racing each car, get tied up in racing the track and just hitting your marks. And you should have a pretty clean race. We got caught up in some stuff. It's real tight on the front stretch here, and this is one of those tracks that being as flat as it is at the one end, the things kind of go back up the track as somebody spins. So we got caught up in an issue where we got kind of put down on the paint down there, the rumble strip. We just ran out of room and turned a guy, and nothing intentional there. He apologized to us, saying that it was his fault. Wild race. That's about all I can say.
It definitely was a wild race, but next week we got the third round of the Triple Threat at Chicagoland Speedway. What are your thoughts about that racetrack? And then also give us some shout-outs. I know that Menards has a special going on for those people in the Midwest, so tell us a little bit about that as well at Chicagoland.
Yeah, so Chicagoland's the last race of the Triple Threat Challenge. Couldn't use the other name. But so the Triple Threat Challenge was here tonight and then goes to Chicago. But it's our first race at night at Chicago on iRacing, so that's kind of cool. We're going to turn the lights on and run under the lights there. It's a track that we do okay at. It's kind of one of not our home tracks, but a track that's not too far from home. A couple hours drive and you can get there. Just kind of like St. Louis and Pocono and Michigan, Kentucky, and then Lucas Oil. So those tracks kind of around me, but we're going to see what we can do. And being in the Midwest, Menards has 11% off with a rebate this week, so that's cool. 11% off of everything in the store. So save a little bit of money, save some big money at Menards, and we're going to try to go win big next week and win some big money at Chicagoland.
Well, hopefully you can. $25 once again on the line next week. And round 3 of the Triple Threat. Jim, we thank you for joining us here on 3 Wide TV as always. And hopefully you can make it to the checkered flag next week in that number 42 machine.
Let's hope we can keep the fenders on it and bring the Holco, Intercon, Maxwell, Menards, American Regardless, Sam Maxwell Customs, Driven Designs, Toyota home. Good one.
Well, hopefully you can keep that mouthful in line, because that, oh boy, that is a mouthful, Jim. But we'll see you next week, bud.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that was driver number 42, Jim Foose, and I believe Tanner Sharp has caught up with your third place finisher tonight, Jimmy McKee.
I've caught up with Jimmy McKee, and Jimmy, you had a very up and down and very eventful night in that number 31 machine. You started 22nd, and then basically a caution race, I should say, with a loose race car and corner exit, but you still rounded up to a top 3 third place finish. How'd you do it, man?
I did it very slowly. That's about as fast as we ran today, but no, I mean, I don't know. It was just strategy. Know when to pit, and you had to gauge the restarts the right way. To me, I had to be on that high side to gain any positions, and really the way this race went all night, you had to, get what you can get on the start, because, within 1 or 2 laps, there's probably going to be a yellow, but it was a good night for this old SRM Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've had quite a few near misses there as far as accidents are concerned, but you still got some fenders beat up on that thing, but it still ran pretty good. Tell me about the handling of the truck, man. It just seemed like guys are just getting loose off of turn number 4, which was the hot spot of the night. As the race went on, it seems like there's a lot of contact with other drivers down in 1 and 2. The handling of the truck just not... is it just loose out there, or as far as the truck setup, or... could it be just the weather or the track?
I couldn't really tell you. We weren't running green long enough to know what the car or truck would do. I just know, when we were actually racing, coming off of 4, you kind of had to pedal it a little bit. If you went right into the gas, you were probably going to spin out. But we weren't running long enough to really see what that truck could do.
Jimmy, I'm not sure if I see you running every single week, but if you are, I apologize. But nonetheless, the series goes to Chicagoland Speedway, the first Chicagoland Speedway for iRacing, and the ASRS itself under the lights for the first time next week. If you're going to be racing it, how do you feel about your chances and carrying your momentum to Chicagoland next week?
Oh, I'll be there for sure. But I feel confident. I enjoy the 1.5 miles. Chicago's one of my favorite tracks to run at, and it'll be fun to hopefully run wide open there if we can. But hopefully it'll be a better race than tonight, and we can get some green flag.
All right, Jimmy. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us this evening. Before we let you go, is there any kind of shout-outs you'd like to give out?
No, not really. We could really use a sponsor on this truck. I don't like a plain truck, so if anybody's out there want to put their logo on this truck, that'd be awesome.
Well, Jimmy made a great performance tonight from 22nd position to get up to 3rd place. So if he can carry that momentum along with him, man, someone ride with Jimmy. But Jimmy, thanks for talking with us here tonight, and best of luck at Chicagoland Speedway next week.
Thank you, guys, and thank you all for the broadcast. It's awesome.
That was Jimmy McKee, folks, who finished in the 3rd position, and now we're going to go one up to the 2nd position. We're going to talk to Kelsey Rogers. Peter Short has caught up with him.
That I have, and Kelsey Rogers, my oh my, what an up-down night for you. You started in the 6th position, but for most of the race you were kind of languishing around the bottom half of the top 10, but towards the end of the race you were able to get that number 35 machine up into the top 5, and you had an outside shot of actually winning that thing there on that green-white checker. Tell us a little bit about your night.
Yeah, we ran into a little trouble there right on lap 1 coming out of turn 2. I'm not sure who spun out in front of us there, but that put us back in the pack, and we just kind of raced the track until it was time to go and let everybody take care of what they were going to do. And we didn't think pit road was going to be a big deal tonight, so we pit with like 40 or 50 laps to go and just kind of rode it out from there. And I think that turned out to be the right call with all the yellows.
Yeah, speaking of all those yellows, it was definitely a tough night tonight, and it did appear like these trucks were a handful. A lot of trucks were spinning on exit of turn 4 and turn 2. Well, what was your take on that, and how do you as a driver kind of adapt to racetracks like this that are a little bit more difficult and tend to give you wheel spin up off the corner?
Yeah, I think last week when they came out with that midweek build, I feel like it put the trucks aerodynamically more on edge to where you can drive it to a certain point and then you lose it, and there's not a lot of warning when you do lose it. So you kind of have to manage that, and then tonight with the shifting, that just adds more wheel spin to it. So you had to battle a little aero, and then you had to battle the wheel spin tonight too. So you had to really drive the track and just not worry about who was around you.
Absolutely. Well, you did a fantastic job of that here tonight, but our next race is at Chicagoland Motor Speedway, which is a completely different type of racetrack, 1.5 mile high speed, almost flat out in these high downforce trucks. What are your thoughts about Chicagoland next week?
It should be fun with this new package. I look for us. It's the new, it's the first 1.5 miles, so maybe we'll be a little bit tighter. It seemed to be the case when we were playing with them at Texas, so we'll have to see. We'll race next Tuesday, and then I'm going to load up and go to the race and have a good weekend. It's my home track.
Well, there you go. I know your home track will always be one of those racetracks that you want to perform well at. So I'm sure you'll perform good there next week. But before we let you go, you got some shout-outs for us?
Nope, I know the old man might be watching. Shout out to him. Jimmy and Cody over at SRM Motorsports. Good run for Jimmy tonight, so that was good to see. I think we went 2-3, so good night for him, good night for me, and we'll move on to Chicago.
Absolutely. Well, Kelsey, we thank you for stopping by here in the 3 Wide TV booth, and best of luck next week at Chicago.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, well, that is your second place finisher here tonight, Kelsey Rogers in the number 35 machine. Like you said, hey, had an up-down night, but finished in the second position, so great run for him. And I believe, speaking of good runs, I believe that Tanner Sharp has caught up with your eventual race winner, Mitch Brown.
I've caught up with Mitch Brown, number 51, down in Victory Lane. And Mitch, man, you were in the top 5 all night long. You had a fast truck. You started second. You were top 10 in practice. And I tell you what, man, you just had a fast truck. You just didn't lead a whole heck of a lot till the closing stages there. Take me through your race. You did bring that whole truck home in one piece with a relatively clean truck.
Yeah, our game plan from the start of the race was just trying to keep the truck clean and just trying to stay up front as much as you can, because we knew with the with the practice being a little in a lighter time of day, that it would be much guys would be more aggressive throughout the race. So we just kind of went from there, and the race was a lot of downtime we had.
Yeah, absolutely. But man, take me through when you were running in the top 5, though. There's some plans that didn't go wrong, but you were relatively just as fast as the fast guys like Mogard, Sarah, and Black. I mean, was the wreck avoidance really the key here tonight? Basically, you realize at some point in the race, like, okay, if I can just get through these wrecks, I should be okay, and try to challenge for that top spot.
Not really. Once we I last pitted on lap 51. It was like right around after halfway, and we got stuck in the middle of the pack. I'm sure you guys noticed that, and I had to avoid that one big wreck. So that was probably the only wreck I really had to avoid all night. So wreck avoidance wasn't really on my key. Just kind of staying out front and being in front of the wrecks was, my main goal. And we got to win out of it.
Yeah, man, you definitely did, and you did it in a good fashion too. But how was the handling of the truck for you here tonight? It just seemed like some drivers are saying it wasn't too long of a green flag run to really understand the handling of the truck, but a lot of drivers had a hot spot for coming out of the corners of the track, such as turn 4, and getting loose.
We didn't really get a long green flag run, but you still could feel on how the truck was going to handle early on in the run. 3 and 4 was really loose if you ran towards the bottom and towards the rumble strip. So if you notice, most guys ran about a lane and a half up off the bottom just to combat with that looseness. But and then 1 and 2, sometimes I would downshift and sometimes I wouldn't, just to get off the run off the corner. And I could tell whenever I didn't downshift who did downshift, because I would I'd beat him center off the corner. So it was kind of minuscule, you can notice it, but not enough where it was like, I can, if I save here, I can beat him in the long run. Kind of like that.
Well, also race fans, Mitch Brown did win Daytona, the first race of the season, earlier this season. Now he's back in victory lane for his second win of the season. Mitch, now Gateway's done. You got 2 wins out of the season. You're doing great in points. Chicagoland Speedway next week, first time under the lights. How do you feel about your chances of carrying your momentum and going back to back to victory lane at Chicagoland Speedway?
I feel pretty good. Definitely in the nighttime is going to bring a really different animal. Usually the way we race at ASRS, usually at Chicagoland, we usually ran into them in the late afternoon time. So nighttime is definitely going to be a different challenge for us. But I think if we just keep the fenders clean and try to stay up front, I think we should have a top 5, and challenge for the win. And I'm also chasing for that $100, because I want that money. I really want that money. I like money.
And speaking of money, you did win $25 here tonight as far as the Triple Threat Challenge. But if you do win Chicagoland next week, you will get another $25. So that's $50 right there in your pocket for sure there, Mitch. But before we let you go, any shout-outs you would like to give before we let you go and celebrate?
Just got to thank everybody at Dirty Bird Sim Racing, everyone at SMS Racing, all the guys back at the shop. For Jim for putting on the league each and every week. He does a great job, And also I gotta thank you guys for broadcasting each and every week. You guys do a fantastic job. And that's pretty much I gotta go. I gotta celebrate. I got some liquid courage behind me. I need to take a little sip after this race.
Sounds good, Mitch. We will let you go. Congratulations on the win and the $25, and we will see you at Chicagoland Speedway next week.
Thanks, guys.
That was Mitch Brown, folks, who wins the race here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. And Peter, time to wrap things up. I guess we can go ahead with the unofficial race results. Mitch Brown gets the win here tonight. Kelsey Rogers in second. Jimmy McKee in third. Tyler Sawville, what a run for him. Started 34th, finishes 4th. Great run for Tyler. Jackson Von Valkenburg will finish in 5th. Edward Bray in 6th. Jason Stewart in 7th. Will Worsler in 8th. 9th place, Brandon Krutz. And Sam Maxwell rounding out the top 10, Peter.
Yeah, finishing in the 11th position is Nick Curling in the number 45 machine. We saw him a lap down earlier in the race. Good recovery for him. Jim Foose finishes 12th. Jack Wells comes home in 13th, the last truck on the lead lap. Chris Titus finishes 1 lap down in the 04 and 14th. Calvin Miller finishes 15th, who was your first truck not to finish. Troy Haight, Richard Stallings, Doug Mullins, Alex Giese, and Devin Serra, who led the most laps in this race, rounds out your top 20.
Evan Black will finish in the blackjack position here tonight after a good run once again. Jared Mogard, we usually see him up towards the front, but he got caught up in an accident. He finishes 22nd. Pete Baskins, 23rd. Tim Knott will finish 24th after starting 7th. Dan Deffler, 25th. Apparently he had a power outage, so that's very unfortunate for Dan. Jared Haggerty finishes 6th. Corey Silva in 7th. Michael Krobach started 4th, will finish in 28th. Alan Young will finish 29th. Running on the top 30, Josh Walker, Richard Fletcher 31st, 32nd, Clarence Bonner, Christopher Lane 33rd, and Lee Staples rounding out the top 34 car field that started tonight's festivities. But before we let everybody go, we do have to have a shout out to quite a few sponsors for the event. First off, thanks to the main sponsor of the Truck Series, Sam Maxwell Customs, for sponsoring the 2019 ASRS Truck Series this season. Also, Perky Pints. Perky Pints this season here is a sponsor of this race. And if you just once a quick reminder, if you don't know what Perky Pints is, Perky Pints rewards craft beer with the use of the Perky Pints app. Both available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. The app rewards users for their loyalty with discounts and free pours, along with the electronic punch cards to your favorite establishments. Additionally, breweries and craft beer establishments are offered a loyalty program for their customer base and have their ability to make money off premium subscriptions. Check it out today at www.perkypints.com. Also, Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors the Cup Series size of the ASRS, Driven Designs, iRacing, Twitchy Race Reports, iRacingiFlag, Kirkwood Transportation, and Coffman Racing Graphics. Thanks to the drivers today and the organizers of the American Sim Racing Series. Also, thank you to the team today up here in 3Y TV. Carlos Acosta back on the production truck and Peter Short alongside me in the booth today. You guys do a fantastic job every time we go live here on 3Y TV. Please join us next week for the Chicagoland Speedway. First time under the lights in iRacing history. The Sam Maxwell Customs Chicagoland 125, 84 laps. That's June 25th. Same time, same place, next week Tuesday. Live here on 3Y TV. I'm Tanner Sharp, Peter Short, Carlos Acosta, and we will see you in Chicagoland, Joliet, Illinois, next week for round 14. Take care, everybody.